Hello and welcome into Speed Gaming 4. My name is One Kind of Syrup, joined today by a fugitive from reality. Fugitive, how you doing today?
Doing great. We're here for a nice Ambrosia seed, which as a standard start, assured sword, and Uncle will spoil where the boots are. Aside from that, it is just one item locked on the boss in every dungeon. Everything else is normal-ish.
Normal-ish, yeah. It's a very fun seed, can lead to a lot of interesting situations. Again, like you said, item on every boss means, you know, you're gonna want to clear a lot more of these dungeons free, and also can lead to some unfortunate situations with progression being hidden on pendant bosses.
All right, and we have a pretty detailed hint today. It looks like the boots are on Death Mountain.
Yeah, Death Mountain's a nice spot to see those boots hints. Actually, usually an area of the world that you can access pretty early, as long as we do get either a mirror and a hammer or that hook shot today.
Yeah, it's nothing big like, say, Light World or Dark World, which could be practically anywhere.
Yeah, always fun when you get the Light World hint, but it's, you know, locked on the floating island or something like that.
Yeah, that or Catfish or Graveyard Ledge. Someplace that's a little out of the way.
K45.
Oh, yeah. I would argue K45 is a little... It's not that far out of the way, but it's...
It is a funny one to get a Light World hint on, though. Feels less like a Light World clear, you know?
Yes, I could fully see that one being either a Dark or Light World, and I would agree with the logic either way.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, on Restream today, we're joined by 4 runners. We have Professor Renderer in the top left, Scupula in the bottom left, Tepidino in the upper right, and Yoinker's wife in the bottom right. And tracking for us today, we have Avalyn and Shandis. So make sure, guys, we appreciate our trackers here. Our trackers make sure that me and Fugitive here know what's going on at all times. Make sure you guys do too. So big shout out to them.
And it looks like Yoinker's wife had a delay with their start. Because I'm showing their times are syncing up, but they are about 30 seconds behind.
Yeah, it looks like they might have had a little bit of a delay on the start. Unfortunate, but, you know, not an insurmountable amount of time in any ways.
Yeah, very early on, lots of time to bring that back.
And standard escape here, not finding too much. Looks like a little bit of bombs, a little bit of money. Getting the bombs is nice, not having to farm a guard pack or the rats. Definitely nice to just get them out of the chests.
Most definitely, because it's technically, it's like, even if you don't find lamp, those checks are still in logic as far as I'm aware.
Yes, they are in logic there, so having to come back through a second time is definitely not what you want to be doing.
But the
so
counter
oh yeah.
The counter to that, I think, is that it has to be in one of the enemy's item drops. It's just, there's still RNG can't hit you.
Yeah. If you're willing to farm enough, you're usually able to find them, hopefully. And if not, usually you find that glove relatively early, come back for a quick 3. I think it's very rare that it's quite a while, you know?
Yep. So far, we have had no special items. It's ideal to find something that gives you a hint to where to go from here, but so far we're not seeing that today. A glove would keep things interesting. A glove, see who immediately just hopes it's on the old man and then the escape. Or
yeah,
boots.
100%. Or just sitting inside Spectacle Rock there. Definitely some quick checks, and if you get those boots early, I mean, definitely a huge advantage, and also just makes routing the game a lot nicer, a lot cleaner.
Yeah, especially since you have the starting sword, you can hammer dash, item dash, and whatever you want to do right through enemies, or not for enemies, but the hammer pegs is free. I think there's a couple scenarios where this helps too.
Yeah, no, definitely very helpful. Also opens up additional checks. You know, your Bonk Rocks, your King's Tomb once you have the glove or the mirror. So definitely always nice to get them early and get them often. That's where I like my boots. But yeah, pretty standard escape here. Renderer, Tepidino. Renderer just heading into the back now. Tepidino looking quite a way through the back here. Just about to get the item here in Dark Cross, which is just the map.
The map. See, I'm hoping for items that will take people in multiple directions in Kakariko Village. Get some real divergence early on.
Yeah, I wonder. I especially in these standard starts, I like to go directly to Kakariko, but wonder if any of our runners today will decide to do that save and quit. Maybe hit South Shore first, depending on what they get in the back.
Well, with say, with 300 rupee pack or gloves or a hookshot mirror, I could see gloves would put Zora in logic. 300 rupees would get you closer to that. But I don't see a lot of fake. Maybe some will do fake flippers, but I don't. With the knowledge of where the boots are going to be on Death Mountain, I think they'd try to get the boots first. Yeah,
get the water walk state there. Just Bombos today in the back, so nothing really here on our escape. This is actually one of the least item dense escapes I've seen in a long time. But yeah, see where the rest of those items are lying. We do get one more here in the sanctuary because we did find that map in Dark Cross. Just 20 rupees. So yeah, nothing out of the escape here.
But that could hopefully we have a pendant. A crystal ice palace. I mean, that's even if you find Fire Rod, Bombos makes that fight all the easier, all the cleaner.
Yeah, saves you a ton of magic. Just one of the more useful ones to have specifically for that reason. The other two, a lot less useful in that sense. Looks like we got a map check there. I saw Eastern Palace, Red Crystal, Desert Palace, Green Pendant, and it looked like Tower of Hera was another pendant, I believe.
Oh, so that's... Well, I mean, the desert you don't mind as much if it's pendant, but Hera, you hope it's a crystal.
Yeah, especially with those boots being up on the mountain, it's all the more annoying to have to go up there just for Hera to be a pendant, and if there's nothing in it, it can waste quite a bit of time, depending on big key location. It's just a bit of a hassle.
I think that was a bottle we saw on Lumberjack there.
Yeah, I don't think any of our runners will be picking that up today. Seems like not the best investment of their time.
But looks like everyone's going Lost Woods and probably down to Kakariko Village from there. But unless we see a glove, there's not much else you can do.
Yeah, it looks like nothing in Lost Woods as well, so really hoping Kakariko pulls up big here. I mean, item dense location, not finding no items yet. Hope to find at least one or two, like you said, to point us in some direction here.
But at least everyone's going to leave the enter Village of Outcasts, or not, enter Kakariko Village with bombs plus 100 rupees, so they can go top down and clearing things.
Yeah, just missing a bottle and the flute for things to do here in the village, but another medallion, finding Quake. Cane of Samaria as well, and a Moon Pearl. Okay. Now we're getting a few items.
Those are the nice items, too. I mean, so we're still likely to see an Ice Rod hunt today, because we have 2 pendant knowledge, so it's 1 out of 7. Turtle Rock is our 3rd pendant.
Yeah, getting that Cane of Samaria early as well, quite nice. Just makes routing dungeons like Swamp Palace, Ice Palace, quite a lot easier, as well as, logical access, Misery Mire, Turtle Rock. So really nice to get that early and not have to worry about where that's hiding.
Definitely. So, if you're running the seed, you want to see that Ice Rod now, because that's all of the annoying go mode items that can be practically anywhere in your pocket from the get-go, so it's just things that lock you out.
Now, with the way this game loves to troll us a little bit, it would be just right for Randomizer to give us Misery Mire, Turtle Rock being Ether Medallion. Oh, as we find a glove there on the merchant, bottle vendor. So we have Glove, Moon Pearl. We are one item away from Dark World access. What do you prefer, Hammer or Titansmith's access?
Hammer, hands down, because
Yeah.
the Titansmith locks you out of dungeons. The Hammer prevents you from completing dungeons. So you can get all the way to it opens up ice. Well, not ice. But it opens up like the one check in Swamp House, for example.
Speaking of Swamp Palace, looks like we found the flippers there in the back of the bar, and a saving quit from Tepidino. Looks like they're going back to the sanctuary, most likely following that hit from Uncle, and going straight up to the mountain.
Yeah, it's good. It is a good gamble. It's not. If it doesn't pay off, it's not the worst time loss. You still have that save and quit active, and hopefully you go back with Hookshot and you just do East Death Mountain. Plus with Titansmiths, you can clear everything up.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Titansmith's Dark World access when I have either, well, I guess not the Mirror and the Hammer, but the Hookshot itself. So definitely makes that a lot nicer. Be able to clear all of Death Mountain and Dark Death Mountain in one. But it looks like Scupula here gonna continue south. I also like Tepidino's idea of possibly getting the boots before checking library, in case there's a required item there on the ledge.
Yeah, I like what Scupula's doing here. There's a powder on the library, but if you see a early required item on there, you know the boots have to be early up on the mountain, so you know you don't have to wait till you have more items to go up there.
It's very fair. And the boots are on Old Man today. Tepidino making the right call here. Gonna go up, check the inside and top of Spectacle Rock while they're here. But yeah, boots on Old Man, that's a very convenient location for those boots to be.
Very nice. And that's the longer runners avoid that check, the better off Tepidino is going to be for doing it. It looks like they ran dry on checks. It was $20 inside and 10 arrows on top of Spectacle. But we're getting looks like a map check of Dark World.
Yeah.
And Swamp Pendant. Red Crystal Ice.
Swamp Pendant. Red Crystal Ice. Interesting. Professor Renderer giving the shield chest a bomb on his way out for good measure. Looks like Yoinker's wife, I believe, doing race game blind. I don't believe we saw anything on top. And just bombs today, but looks like Scupula's gonna go to Agina first.
I can see a logic for doing race game blind, because if you have less than 3 good items in Kakariko Village, the odds of it being something good are a lot higher from what just on average.
Yeah, fair enough. It looks like Tepidino also did find a mirror in Bonk Rock, so gotta go up the mountain twice to get into Tower of Hera today. And with those boots now in hand, gonna check the edge here. See, it's just blue goo in a bottle. As we see $300 there to Gina.
It just occurred to me we have the items to enter Swamp Palace. Just letting that information sit there that something could be in the first check there.
Yeah, yeah, and again, depending on what our Dark World access here, if it's Hammer Dark World, that puts even more of that Pendant Swamp Palace in logic. Interesting. We do know we don't have to go all the way to the boss unless we see that hook shot, obviously. Not able to make it there, but yeah, could be an interesting location for some early items.
Because that allows for some interesting gambles, but it so rarely does pay off, unfortunately.
And it looked like Renderer took a death there. I don't believe that was an intentional death. I believe they were on their way to Ice Rod Cave, unfortunately, and got by those crabs on Greenmail. Not the most fun enemy when you still only have the Greenmail. 2 hearts of full damage is quite a bit in the early game.
Yeah, and at 4 hearts, you can take 2 hits. That's it. Well, you can only take 1, survive, so 2 hits and you're done. and no boots, so you can't just dash through here. But at least they have the sword.
Yeah, it helps out. It helps out a ton there. All right, looks like nothing on the camper under the bridge today.
And it looks like Yoinker's wife picked up their boots as well. And Professor Render going back towards Ice Rock Cave.
Yeah, Scupula entering Tepidino there as well. Looks like Render will get there most likely very shortly. Probably heading to do Waterfall Ferry and whatnot, and then coming back down. Looks like not much there.
And it looks like a water walk setup from Tepidino. And nope, not going down the waterfall.
Yeah, taking this way around. It's a little bit faster to go through the water there, but doesn't waste you too much time. Getting the water walk saves so much of it, so. And it looked like Renderer got a second sword out of Waterfall Ferry there. And a bow on Zora Ledge.
That bow was nice to see, so looks like... Yeah, it looks like most people are going to be getting that in the next 30 to 40 seconds and heading towards Eastern with that.
Yeah, Yoinker's wife going down to the library, picking up that powder. And looks like they're going to save and quit, probably heading down to this South Shore route as well.
There's not much else you can do at this point. It's the densest item location, and Yoinkers has boots, so it's going to make those... Actually going to gain some time back here from that. With those, I'm still not as much as... Not a lot, but it's going to add up more and more over time.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think Professor Render or Scupula will be missing those boots for too long, but definitely can add up over time. And it looks like Scupula, the only one here who has Zora money. So we will be able to see what item the fish has today. Everyone who comes up here going to be getting that bow on the ledge. But will be interesting to see whether or not it's a scam.
It usually is, especially now that there's two good items in Zora's vicinity. I'm willing to bet it's nothing, but this could be a huge lead for Scupula right here if it's something important.
Yeah, items on Zora, especially once everyone's already kind of combed over this area, is definitely one of those last location sections. And the lamp, depending on... It is hard required, but depending on the strength of our runners, not necessarily hard required, but definitely nice to have.
And that opens up Aga.
It does. We do have Master Sword Lamp. So hoping to find some of that Dark World access before we have to go do Aga. Quite a few checks here in Eastern Palace. But I believe after Eastern Palace, that might be all we have.
Lamp, for chat, Lamp was on Zora. But I expect people to be... I mean, you're going to break open the mountain regardless, see what's where. It's past the point you're going to know the lamp is in one of two locations of your spirit wands. It's because it's a lamp locked boots leading to Mire. And that's going to unlock a lot of locations. So it's probably going to come down to a Spear 1 Desert Cave or Catfish, or Zora.
Yeah, it definitely makes it more interesting as well, since our Mire was our boots access, or our lamp, sorry, was our boots access, which got us our Mire. It also means Tower of Hera fully completable in logic as well. So definitely interesting. We still have a few checks that I didn't think about a ton, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see where these where these items are.
The worst thing for the runners that had to leave Zora behind would be a fire-locked Hera early on. It could just be, or more often than not, you're leaving nothing behind, but still, it's always going to be bugging you. It's going to be in the back of your mind for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, if they clear everything else out, especially for Professor Render and Tepidino, who have already been to that area, it's most likely going to be a hard last location. You don't usually go back to check Zora again. It's quite an out-of-the-way check. We'll see where Yoinker's wife is heading, see if they do these flipper checks, as they do have enough money for Zora, so going to be getting that lamp relatively soon as well.
And that must have been the second item in Eastern for Tepidino, because they are skipping the vanilla big key chest and going straight towards the boss.
Yeah, it makes this math a little easier knowing that there's a guaranteed item on the boss, which definitely makes Eastern a lot nicer when you get to skip that big key chest a little more often.
The downside of that is a lot of people have that muscle memory built in, like, okay, I'm just going through these dungeons on autopilot while I try to plan ahead, and until you see something shiny, ooh, I have this unlocked now. So we might still see a couple people do those unnecessary checks today.
Yeah, definitely a possibility. Especially when you play a lot of seeds in a row, you're looking at your tracker after you pick up that big key chest, and it can definitely be something where you're just like, oh, oops, just forgot about it, and now you're halfway through doing it in the blind.
Well, once you pass the third room of that loop, you're kind of trapped into it anyways. It takes more time to go back, and it does just continue it through.
And nice clean fight from Tepidino. Pretty clean fight there from Render as well. Picking up another bottle with a blue goo, so not needing to fight Aga for the bottle today, which I know someone did mention progression on Sick Kid with the required bottle of being on Agina, but we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Oh, that sounds all kinds of evil.
Yeah, that's a mean situation, but from a commentator's perspective and a viewer perspective, definitely an entertaining situation to watch.
Very glad I wasn't running that seed, but yes, from an outsider perspective, that sounds amazing.
And Yoinkers here going to be picking up that lamp and their bow. Most likely going to be heading over to Eastern Palace, like the rest of our runners. We see Professor Renderer, going to be going, I believe, to turn in that bottle at Sick Kid.
Looks like it, and probably going to go up the mountain from there. Actually, there's pretty much nowhere else to go for Professor Render.
Yeah, I believe probably going up the mountain's the smartest play here. As we know, Boots on Uncle will make sure that he gets those boots right away, but not known information. And just a heart piece on Sick Kid today. So it looks like Professor Render saving quitting. Most likely going to be going up the mountain here. As we see Yoinker's wife with the boots and that mirror heading up to Eastern Palace here. Going to be clearing out those checks that we saw from our other runners.
Yeah, looks like I was wrong. Professor Renderer's heading south, but to where? Did they leave behind Ice Rock Cave?
This may be Ice Rock Cave into Zora.
Actually, it probably is Zora, because they did... Oh, no, they're going to Ice Rock Cave, so yeah, they did leave behind Ice Rock Cave, so they also have the 500, and they're in the area. You might as well get Zora while you're at it.
Yeah, unfortunately, Professor Renderer took the deaths from those crabs earlier on, and then decided to go the Zora route instead of continuing up here to Ice Rock Cave. Perfectly reasonable decision.
Yeah, it's just unfortunately nothing else paid off, and you ended up having to come back.
Yeah, definitely wasting a little bit of time there. As we see, nice quick kill from Scupula. As Tepidino's diving into Tower of Hera here. Just a map in the basement.
And now we'll see if it's fire locked. It is not fire locked. So leaving behind that lamp is not going to affect Tepidino one bit. Not here, anyways.
Yeah, depends on if there's an item in the basement that we do need. Always can be frustrating, but with an item guaranteed to be on the boss, a lot less likely here.
Yeah, but it's down to 1 and 3 at this point of it being a fire-locked second item in Hera.
And there is an item in the basement. It does seem so. Tepidino going to be missing that for now. Could be a time save in the end, but we won't know until someone decides to take a coffee break for a little bit.
Yep, but from now it looks like Aga 1 to Pod is the way.
Professor Renderer picking up their lamp here. Now, most likely going up the mountain. We will see. Well, save and quit. Start at the house.
I'm guessing Professor Renderer might be feeling a little behind and is just trying to get ahead on the Aga play.
Yeah, definitely an interesting call before going up the mountain here. We'll be missing those boots for the climb. Doesn't waste too much time on the Aga climb. But yeah, we'll see if this pays off for Professor Renderer. You never know. That hammer could just be sitting on the pyramid or over at Catfish.
And honestly, this doesn't feel like that bad a gamble from their point of view, because they don't know where on Death Mountain. That could be Dark Death Mountain. That could be Hookshot Cave. That could be an hour into the seed you get those boots. So this might just be them trying to skip a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, I definitely an understandable play, not wanting to go up the mountain just on that hint without the mirror and without the hook shot. Unfortunately, with that mirror being locked behind those boots, it sets that situation up even a little more.
An interesting question in chat. Ambrosia is a standard start seed where one of each dungeon item is locked to the boss. So a 3-item dungeon, only 2 items will be available before going to the boss. And aside from that, you get a starting sword and spoiled boots location from Uncle.
And the spoiled boots location today was Death Mountain. Those boots were on the Old Man today, the Old Man Rescue.
And we might be seeing, well, actually, we'll most definitely be seeing from Scupula's screen in a little bit what that second item in Hera is. From now, where is Tepidino going?
I think going back to Zora to get that lamp, unfortunately not the progression they're going to be looking for, especially after completing Tower of Hera. But we'll see what they decide to do after that. I believe this and Basement of Tower of Hera will be their last 2 checks.
I completely spaced on that, but actually it's, at the very least, you get away knowing that you're going to have the lamp. It's the time saved not having to do dark rooms, especially for Aga's Tower.
Yeah, dark room, Aga Tower, dark room Misery Mire, also that turtle room and pod. Just not having to worry, depending on when we get that fire rod. Yeah, definitely not having to worry about that is very nice.
Yep. So if that had actually not been, if they had someone found Hammer or Titan's Mitts by now, that might have been a good time save for Scupula, because the time you save not having to fiddle around dark rooms, try to set things up. Again, it's little bits, but little bits add up over the seed into a couple minutes.
Yeah, very interesting. When we saw that original pickup of the lamp from Scupula, we thought no one else would have picked that up. But now it looks like all 4 of our runners have it. So interesting how the seed changes quickly, you know. That was a pretty quick climb there from Professor Renderer. Already on to that Aga 1 fight. How many blue balls are we getting today, Fugitive?
Average is 3. I'm going with the average.
I'm gonna be nice today. I'm gonna go with the Fabled Zero. Hoping for the best.
I've heard tales of that, but never seen it with my own eyes.
Unfortunately, it is something I also only see in restreams, so unfortunate there. As we see Scoopula gonna be doing the basement here while we see Renderer doing the climb. Getting their first set of blue balls, so I'm out.
I think we'll be getting the... We might be getting that information just about the time Aga's be defeated.
Yeah, getting a lot of new information here. Very interesting. Hopefully, Scoopula's not wasting their time here for nothing, but there's an item here in the basement. That's pretty far away for Tepidino and Professor Renderer at this point.
Yeah, I mean, a hammer here, hookshot here, or heck, even just another sword or fire rod would give them such a time boost, but nope, it's a Pizza Heart.
Yeah, Professor Renderer making the risky but good call of going straight to Aga there. Did unfortunately jump too far before checking the ledge. But gonna go back and see what's on that ledge here. See if just some rupees. So we're gonna be going deeper into Dark World here to get that easier Dark World access, not having that Aga save and quit.
So we're not going to see much divergence for a while yet because there's, well, actually, Professor Renderer's taken another slight gamble and they're going straight to the catfish instead of going into the density of pod.
Yeah, maybe thinking they were put a little behind by missing one of these out-of-way checks earlier, wanting to get it out of the way early.
Well, no, they do not have their mirror, so unfortunately they can't save quit right back to the, but it's easy for them to get to that Dark World. Just save quit to the house and rush north.
Yeah, not too far from them. So we'll waste a little bit of time going back if they decide to walk back or through the save and quit, but I don't know exactly which is faster, to be honest.
And actually, it's very possible we'll see a mountain climb from Professor Renderer. Or do they fall? Because we know from our side, well, yeah, we know it's either going to be off that shelf or it's going to be in pod where people have to go, but Professor Renderer does not know that.
Yeah, trusting the heart of the seed here. It gave you a shovel, so you go do the shovel. So fingers crossed for Professor Renderer here, but yeah, they may have to go back north and clear out all of Death Mountain before heading back into the Dark World in a pod.
I kind of want it to be a hook shot or a hammer, something that's nope, it's money.
Yeah, and we see another save and quit here from Renderer. We'll see where they save and quit to here. And it looks like they're going to be going to pod, not wanting to go up that mountain just yet.
It makes sense. Pod is your density. It's also pod having mid-game progression it's the law in Rando World. Because I want to say it's 5 items available. So for you dipping there without hammer, it's 4 items available, all in logic with lamp.
Yeah, definitely a very item-dense location. We see Tepidino going to be the first to head into pod. Also, tons of money this seed, so no need for our runners to worry about things like Zora or entering pod. So definitely nice to see.
Which is very generous of the seed, because last I checked, the seed doesn't count money drops from chests towards logic. It doesn't lock whether you can access Zora. It's just
it does not, unfortunately. When you have one of those low money required item on Zora seed, it definitely stings a little bit. Having to find which prize packs are which and which tiered tree pulls are which.
I think the worst is when you avoid doing hula hands, and the only setup I only know 2 setups, so I know one that requires you have gloves or one that requires you don't have flippers. So if I found flippers and
No glove.
Yeah, and
I'm
nope,
stuck.
I have to do this, so it's going into blindside multiple times.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely not always fun. Going to blind top multiple times, or yeah, if you do have that, even with the Houlihan, sometimes not quite hitting enough. Sometimes you pick up that rock by Ice Rock Cave and walk up and down a few times.
So it's looking like Pod was a Bolog dungeon today. Not that that means anything to any of the runners on this restream.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. Pod so far. Most likely good to see 2 small keys here. Yep, 2 small keys with that mirror. Tepidino able to just mirror to the front. Mirror makes Pod so much nicer.
It does. It's yeah. Hopefully for the runners, they find Hammer in here because Hammer not only lets you clear this dungeon, but it opens up so much of the Dark World.
Yeah, this would also be the logical access to, yeah, like you said, completing this dungeon, getting their second crystal. So we see a cape as the first item in Pod. Scupula. Gonna go see the catfish today. Unfortunately, just gonna be getting an out-of-the-way fetch quest.
It did just occur to me that this could be the North Dark World access, where you have to take either glove or hammer or flipper paired with the hook shot.
Yeah, and we did just see Tepidino picking up that hook shot in Pod, so could be our logical West Dark World access. Also, like we've been talking about, gives us quite a few checks on the mountain. So world's starting to open up a little bit for our runners here.
Yeah, and especially for Professor Renderer, who has not touched the mountain at all, that's probably going to push them in that direction. It's logically open. They can do at least half the checks up there. And maybe if they're lucky, they'll find Titan's Myths while up there.
Yeah, definitely going to be a good play for them, getting those boots as well, as we see Tepidino doing the hammer jump, hammer yump on over, getting a few items in the back here. Heart piece is the first here in Dark Maze.
And more money. Not that anyone needs it.
Yeah, money-rich seed, and looks like Tepidino's going to be leaving here with that cape and that hook shot. Gonna have to mirror out of here in order to save and quit to the light worlds.
Probably going to the mountain, because you're hoping it's not that horrible Dark World access that is going north, north and west from Catfish.
Yeah, it definitely makes it a lot more convenient if we can just find the hammer or the Titan's Myths here. Clear up any issues on that front, but you never know where they could be lying. Still a lot of logical locations now that we have, flippers, hook shots, as well as that Aga Dark World access.
Yeah, we're kind of at the point now where if they can reach it, it's in logic. Or we know where the logical item for it is.
Yeah, it, could be all the way southwest on endgame, could be in Hype Cape. Quite a few locations still open to us. First 2 checks here on East Death Mountain, nothing here. So we'll see in the 5 checks up here if we can find that item we're looking for.
Or at the very least, some knowledge to come back for. So we still have Floating Island and Spiral Cave. And it looks like Renderer's walking out of the pod area.
Yeah, this may be the a delay Death Mountain for as long as possible play. Interestingly enough, with those boots being up there, but yeah, looks like they might be taking that hook shot and going west.
I mean, it's a bold play, but if it works for them, if they find, say, Titan's Myths there, and yeah, they can only have to climb the mountain once or twice rather than 3 times, that itself might make up for the boots.
Yeah, it definitely can. If they're able to route this perfectly, it definitely will save them time, but If something's sitting up here, if Tepidino sees something here in Spiral Cave, definitely would not be a good situation here for Professor Under.
And maybe we'll see we're going to be right by it. We might see what the cape. Yep, we're going to see a cape dip probably.
Yeah, gonna check Bumper Cave here, and gonna be heading further west into this. There was nothing up on East Death Mountain, so we're still looking for any logical progression. Globs in chat again saying it must be chess game with all this money, so we'll see if they're able to call it today. I love a good call your shot.
I'm saying it right now. It's middle to the back of Hype Cave. It was not the very last check. I'm talking chest number 3 out of 5 in there.
Yeah, chest 3 out of check number 3 out of 5 there, and then having to walk all the way around would definitely not be the most fun seed. We're seeing calls for first chest swamp, like we were talking about earlier. First chest swamp can have that hammer, so it's a cruel place for it to be, but it can be there.
And we're probably going to see Professor Render go clear everything in their path, because you do not want to have to do this routing again to come back for one item. If you're making this gamble, there's no reason to double up.
Yeah, Renderer though, unfortunately missing that mirror. Hasn't gone up the mountain for those boots, and that mirror was in Bonk Rocks. So, unfortunately, not going to be able to check that first chest. So, if it's in Swamp Palace first chest, unfortunately, Renderer is getting maximum punished for his play here.
That and also King's Tomb plus Graveyard Ledge. Both anyone that's coming with the boots mirror access is going to get those doing the same route Professor Renderer just did. Yeah,
interesting. We see Tepidino going to be going to that treble and then most likely heading West Dark World here, like we've seen Renderer do. Professor Renderer quite a ways ahead here of over other runners on the west here. Hoping it opens up. We know it doesn't exist on Death Mountain, so those items have to be somewhere.
Yeah, this is the kind of seed that stumps you the first time you ever see it playing randomizer, until afterwards you have to remember these items together do lead to the worst Dark World access.
Yeah, definitely not the kindest seed I've seen for our runners here. But like I said, these items have to be somewhere. Lots of checks in Village of Outcasts. We see Renderer coming up what it looks like empty here in Skull Woods. Not able to go to the back, unfortunately. Good to check, I believe, just this big chest here. And then head south into Village of Outcasts in Thieves Town area.
Yeah, and especially with this mode, there's not much reason not to go all the way to the blind fight.
Yeah, with an item being on blind, it makes it a lot less likely that big chest without the hammer is gonna punish you.
Honestly, one seed out of hundreds, one seed where I have seen the hammer lock something in that cell, and the hammer was on blind. So
yeah, logic can be.
It can happen. It is very evil when it does happen, but it's so rare that. Yeah.
Unfortunately, someone's saying in chat, hammer cannot be on Ped. We do have Swamp Palace as one of our pendants today, so hammer is required to finish Swamp Palace. So not going to be on Ped, unfortunately, but there can be a lot of gross items still on pedestal.
Yeah, I think the only two Dark World dungeons that don't require a hammer are Mire and Skullwoods. So if you have any of the other Dark World dungeons, it hard locks Ped.
Still no hammer. It was not in chest game.
As I say that, I remember, oh yeah, I'm talking about Thieves Town. Technically, it doesn't lock out Thieves Town either.
Technically, you are correct. It cannot be on Trinex, no. Yeah, as Mass Critic saying, you need to have the hammer to enter Turtle Rock.
I do wonder if Professor Render is waiting for the 2 out of 3 option before climbing the mountain. The hammer, hook shot, mirror, 2 of those 3 items, so you can clear the most in one go.
Yeah, if they're able to find that hammer here, most likely going to head up the mountain shortly after clearing out this. And as we say it, there's the hammer sitting in Thieves Town. Surrenderer getting that full mountain access, still missing the Titan's Mitts to be able to clear Dark Death Mountain, but definitely nice to see that hammer not anywhere meaner.
And that just cracked open the seed, and looks like Tepidino is not too far behind from getting that, so Scupula is still a few minutes out, and Yoink's wife is about the same place where Scupula is, so all runners are going to be having that fairly soon.
Yeah, it should be coming fairly shortly here. Tepidino looks like they did not check Skull Woods along the way here. Heading straight into Village of Outcasts, which makes sense for the density. Skull Woods, one of the items is on the boss, and there are a lot of small keys in Skull Woods.
Yep, and with this mode especially, there is one item to be found in Skull Woods. If you don't have a means of opening the back, you're gambling that. I mean, it's still a high percentage that yes, there's going to be an item in the front, but you're going to have to come back to the back with a fire rod anyways.
100%, definitely orphaning a check there, which never feels great. Especially, it depends on where you find that fire rod. You see Renderer heading to the back of Thieves Town here, not having to worry now about being able to check that big chest. Does have that key already, so that big chest will not be locking its own key today.
Unfortunate, meaning it's actually we already know there's an item on blind, so there could still be a scenario where there's only 2 items left. You get the item in the Red Maiden cell, and then last items on blind.
Yeah, I wasn't paying too close attention to whether or not we've seen a map or a compass on Professor Renderer's side, but we will see whether or not they decide to go and check that big chest.
To answer a question in chat, Ambrosia is a standard start seed with an assured sword. The uncle will spoil your boots, and each boss will carry a unique item from the non-dungeon item. It just occurred to me that Swamp Palace is fully clearable.
That's gross. You don't need to say it, though. Such an unfortunate situation to have here. Pendant Swamp Palace being fully clearable here. And compass there in the Maiden's chest. We did get a note in chat from one of our trackers that the map had already been seen, so we'll be checking the big chest here. And yes, Professor Renderer did skip the mountain, even with the hint. Did get their hook shot in Dark World here in Pod, but has not gone up the mountain quite yet.
Which, it still was a good decision on their part to skip it. All they had available, at the time when they made that skip, all they had available was the Old Man Gary and Inside Spectacle Rock, 2 checks with 1 knowledge, so unfortunately, it did not pay out as well, but because they were the first to go the North Dark World route, they are slightly ahead.
Losing the script a little bit here from Professor Renderer on this blind fight. Going to be pulling out the cape strats here on the last phase.
And blind is down.
just 5 rupees, but that does give Professor Render their second crystal, of the game. Clearing out Thieves Town here. Now let's see where they go. I suspect they go up the mountain, but they do have full South Dark World access whenever they would like it. So if they want to, finish clearing the south here later, they're fully able to with that hammer. But looks like Professor Renderer going to be continuing south here.
Yeah, there's a couple checks you can do right now. I imagine they're wanting to get to Hype Cave, see if the hype is real today.
Yeah, and recently I haven't been feeling the hype from Hype Cave. It's been for quite a few versions now, a little lackluster on the Hype Cave. I know some people don't even like calling it Hype Cave anymore. We'll see today whether or not it lives up to its mantra.
And we're seeing a magic batter turn in from Tepidino right now.
Yeah, nice quick check with that mirror.
Reverse.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so Powder giving us Mushroom today, so we love a fetch quest for a fetch quest. The fetch continues, yes.
And unfortunately, the true dream for us evil people is a fetch quest to a fetch quest to a fetch quest. Cannot happen because Shovel has appeared elsewhere. The catfish ruined that dream for us.
Yeah, the catfish ruined the dream, but the catfish did also make multiple runners. Check that Shovel just for $50, so, catfish did its job. Alright, Renderer heading straight to Hype Cave here after checking Stumpy. Let's see what we get. Heart piece to open up. 50 rupees. Some arrows. Another bottle and 20 rupees. Yeah, not a very Hype Cave today, I would say.
2 out of 10, I would say.
Yeah, Professor Renderer giving Jetty 2 bombs, a little piece of his mind, throwing some extra bombs at him.
Bottle is nice, but at this point, 50 seeds after this kind of suffering, you want progression.
Yeah, especially with how sparse this seed has been with giving our runners progression so far. Well, I guess specifically from Renderer's point of view, not having those boots already.
And I missed what was in Cave 45. Did you catch that?
I did miss it, unfortunately. Last bottle in K45, it looks like.
Alright, so bottle percent is known, but no one shall achieve it today because no one has to do... Oh, wait. Actually...
They could. They could if they'd like to.
They could go grab it if they want to, because everyone had to do Aga.
It depends on what they're trying to do today. Whether they're trying to win the race or whether they're trying to win the alt bottles percent speedrun.
I mean, there is the argument for a moral victory.
I couldn't agree more with you, honestly. We see Renderer here actually heading back into pod. Going to be finishing up Helmasaur here. I believe after Helmasaur, depending on the item, they will be forced up the mountain. So we'll finally get those boots. Unfortunately, we'll waste quite a bit of time on those East Death Mountain checks, but not like those are checks you're gonna miss often, or you're gonna skip often.
Oh, it looks like according to check, that bottle on Lumberjack is a blue goo fill, so it is an extra potion if you want it.
It is a blue goo. Yeah, that adds a little bit of incentive here.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure at this point, Professor Renderer is going to be forced up the mountain. There's not much else that can. I mean, yeah, you could get Titan's Mitts, but that's going to open up... Well, actually, yeah, Titan's Mitts is the only thing else that could steer him away, and that would lead him to Ice Palace.
Yeah, if he's on the full avoid Death Mountain after getting the boots hint on Death Mountain plan, Then I guess if he did get those Titans mitts, he would head to Ice Palace. I'd be surprised him not going up the mountain after getting those Titans mitts, being able to clear Light and Dark Death Mountain. But I mean, at this point, you never know.
Well, actually, yeah, I realized that after you said it. Like,
Yeah.
Like, at that point, yeah, like, full clear the mountain one go. Know what medallion you have to come back with if you do.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. At this point, it could be just what he needs to do. You know, the full skip the mountain play.
Because, yeah, it's actually arguably worked for Professor Renderer amongst the four streamers that we're showing right now, because they're on pace with Tepidino.
Yeah, they're very close.
Yeah, and they're most likely going to be forced up the mountain. They're going to get those boots right away, so they're going to be neck and neck.
Also, most likely not going to be wasting time on that pendant Tower of Hera clear as well.
That, and they're also not going to be if they do end up getting Titans mitts going up there, then yeah, they never really. Yeah, that's a full mountain climb saved off of everyone else.
Yeah, for sure. Tepidino heading into his Helmosaur fight here, as we see Hammer Turtles from Professor Renderer. These turtles can be interesting on when they like to flip over for you and when they don't. You see Hammer Strats, Helmosaur, and nice fight from Tepidino. Very clean.
Because, yeah, I mean, aside from heart count, you're basically NMG weaponry for it. The weapons you use, you have hammer, bow, and master sword.
Yeah, and with how fast Helmosaur likes to move in his maskless phase, finding those arrows into its target, not always the easiest thing. He loves to dodge them at the last minute.
That paired with it's an odd hitbox because you can do hammer hits on the exposed eye, but it is an odd hitbox, and if you are not comfortable with it, you're going to have the bow anyways. The bow is most people's favorite there.
Yeah, nice clean fight with the bow there from Professor Renderer, clearing up, following Tepidino with their third crystal today. And Tepidino looks like they're actually going to go turn in that mushroom. Did bonk to set up the fake flipper setup. Forgetting they do have the flippers. I do that all the time, actually, with the boots.
Yeah, I mean, if you have boots and you can bonk there, it's a good muscle. If you're wrong, it doesn't cost you anything drastic. It's like, what, 2 seconds for the bonk?
Yeah, very, very minimal at all. And definitely one of the easier fake flipper setups in the game. So, you know, definitely one that's in all the runners' muscle memory here.
For a question in chat, I can fully see him doing a swamp play right now, because after Pella, they have... Yeah, Tepidino has gone up for Light Death Mountain. There's nothing up there, progression-wise. But it does look like Professor Renderer is going up there to get their boots. And yeah, it looks like Tepidino is going back to Swamp.
Yeah, makes sense here. Like you said, fully clearable here. We're actually... It's funny, we've been talking about how light this seed's been on items, but we're getting closer and closer to go mode here. Depending, of course, what our required medallions are from Misery Mire and Turtle Rock. Missing Fire Rod, Ice Rod, and Flute, it looks like, from our known items. So, getting closer there.
Yep, so worst case scenario, 4 items to go mode.
You could have the classic
five.
Yeah, you could have this classic flute or one of the items behind the book in desert. One of the required items to get into desert with the mirror. We are still missing 2 of them. Oh, sorry, and a second mitts. We also need Titan's mitts, so rods, flute, book maybe, and the mitts.
And that's assuming that there is something inside of Desert Palace. Desert Palace is our green pendant today, so that could just be a completely skippable dungeon.
Yeah, we already saw that first pendant that a few of our runners cleared, being fully skippable. Tower of Hera, not required today at all. So yeah, could be another fully skippable pendant dungeon today. We're seeing some people put some what if this seed is the worst options out there in chat. I'm seeing flute and mitts for desert access to get book for tablets for ice or fire rod. So people really getting creative today.
I mean, I'm not going to specifically give out my worst case scenario because of the well-known commentator's curse.
Like I said, I get away with that one because that was from chat. It's very mean. It's a very mean scenario. I am making sure to point that out. However, it was an option someone brought up.
It is possible.
It is a possible scenario, which is just unfortunate for everyone involved, except for, of course, viewers of Speed Gaming 4, which love a good convoluted pedestal scene.
Yep. I mean, it depends how long you can keep that joke going. Like, it's funny for a bit, but after 2 hours and 30 minutes, like, joke's not funny anymore.
Yeah, it's even chat would get a little tired after a little bit, depending on where some of these items are, I'm sure. And like we said, we don't want these runners having to be here for a 2+ hour Ambrosia run, but Ambrosia does have a tendency to make some interesting seeds. Put some items in some interesting locations.
That it does. I've never had a good Ambrosia run, but I've had a lot of interesting ones.
I'll be honest, I have Ambrosia in a good headspace. I ran one yesterday ahead of today, and it was a very nice run for me. So I have a little bit of rose-colored glasses on for the seed type right now.
Oh, and we're getting an option that I've completely blanked in from chat, Spike Cave, because no one has touched Spike Cave yet. And Professor Render is right there with both invincibility items. And what, that's 9 or 10 hearts?
Yeah, I believe also has a blue goo from one of their bottles. So, very, very, very much in logic Spike Cave there. I'd be surprised if Renderer didn't check Spike Cave here. But we'll have to see. It looks like we found just Tempered Sword so far in Swamp Palace. Definitely nice to see. And like we were talking about earlier with that Cane of Samaria, able to do these diver downs here. Save you quite a bit of time in the back as well as on the left side of Swamp.
To answer a question, chat, the mirror was on Bonk Rocks. That was accessed via the boots in Death Mountain.
Yes, this seed was convoluted from the beginning.
Indeed, it was. Also, it's like the meme lives for Swamp Palace. Oh, looks like Tepidino's going back for that big chest. Just a Pizza Heart, but probably going to leave one behind, maybe.
Yeah, Scupula here, giving us that Spike Cave. Just 10 arrows in Spike Cave, so unfortunately, Spike Cave today, not the answer. We're still looking for a few. It's at least, you know, the items we're missing force us into specific locations. It's always tough when you're on, let's say Ice Rod Bow Hunt, but you can clear everything else. It can be a lot more frustrating, but you know, kind of forced to go into this Swamp Palace check here from Tepidino. We haven't seen much yet, so I'm you know, interested to see what they get on the boss here in the back. Yeah, very interesting to see where any of these items are.
Yeah, this is going to be our second point of convergence for the seed, because there was obvious Aga 1. Everyone had to go through that and was going through that about the same time. Now it looks like everyone's converging We're about to start converging on Swamp Palace. I mean, Professor Render is up the mountain right now, but Scoopula's heading in. Tepidino's in there. Yoinker's wife is on pod, just cleared pod right now.
Yeah, and Tepidino with a very nice fight there. With that tempered sword, able to just hold off the dash. And the Titan's mitts. We're on the boss of Pendant Swamp Palace. What a fun scene this is.
I forget, did we see any checks in the desert area? Because that might have been just the last place anything could be.
We did see a Gina check from a few of our runners. I believe it was just more money, like this seed has given us so far. But it looks like, yeah, most of this is kind of hard clear every major dungeon here and hope for the best. You know, with those mitts being on the boss of Swamp Palace. All of our runners will have to full clear. Well, not necessarily full clear, but will have to go into and complete Swamp. And someone letting us know that it was actually 300 rupees in Agina.
Yep. And pretty sure that guarantees that you cannot, it guarantees an extra climb up the mountain. There is no way of avoiding doing multiple climbs.
Yeah, the only way would be as if you immediately saved and quit from saving the old man getting those boots, then went to Bonk Rocks to get your mirror, and then went to Swamp Palace before clearing the rest of the mountain, but that doesn't make a ton of sense either. That's one of those, if you see the spoiler type of situations, you know?
Well, if I see that kind of spoiler, I just take a minute and pause and let out a deep breath and put my controller down so I don't hurt my controller. It's not its fault.
Yeah, that's one of those spoiler log races where I just know I'm going to lose 20 minutes to some ridiculous route that one of these great runners comes up with.
Yep, because Tepidino took that bits and went to the next, well, actually, the next logical place, clearing out Ice Palace, which should be very quick with Red Cane. Lets them to do Icebreaker. And more than half the time spent in that dungeon, too.
Yeah, Tepidino really finding a really quick way through this scene. And an early big key here. I don't know, did they go back and flip the switch here in Ice Palace?
I didn't notice it, but if they had an early big key,
Doesn't matter a ton.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a difference.
If you find a key of either type, it's really your own preference. I mean, I personally prefer flipping the switch, but that's just me. I mean, there's arguments both ways.
That's very fair. Can't waste a little bit of time having to go through that middle room 2 additional times, especially one with a button press being actually quite a bit of time waste, especially if you do find that big key relatively early.
I think the big argument there is if you are full clearing looking for items, then you're going to find small keys in your path anyways, so there's less reason to flip that switch.
Looks like Tepidino did go and flip the switch, but must have seen all the items here in Ice Palace, just heading straight to Cold Stare. Does have a Bluku, does have a Tempered Sword, does have Bombos. No Fire Rod, unfortunately, to help with this fight. But if I know anything about the rule of fire, we will be getting a Fire Rod here on Cold Stare.
I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, we've had two bad bits already today. We had the. Now I'm forgetting. Nah, never mind. I forgot what I was going on about there.
No worries at all. And let's see. Yeah, this Cold Stare fight, especially on Green Mail, can be very, very scary. Tepidino here with a nice fight with that Tempered Sword. You just got to try and keep those eyes under control, and all for a blue boomerang, but does get another crystal here. That makes it crystal number 4 for Tepidino here. Just 3 left. We got Skullwoods, Misery Mire, Turtle Rock. Now, we know Skullwoods does not hold our Fire Rod or our additional progression, but Tepidino did skip that on their first way over, so we'll see where they decide to go here, whether they go there or decide to go up to Dark Death Mountain.
And getting from Tracker, Pyramid Ferry is also open.
Yep, Ice Palace, Eastern Palace. So we could check Pyramid Fairy here, and it looks like that's what Tepidino is going to be doing.
It's a good check to do. I mean, it's ideally you pair it with others, but it's one of the few things that's left. It's 2 plus you've got empty bottles. You might be able to get some free refills there.
Also, since they've already cleared out the entire pyramid area, it's and all of escape and whatnot. This is one of those checks that it doesn't save you any time whether you do it now or later. So might as well just get it out of the way. And with Aga defeated, going to be able to do a slightly faster walk here. Getting nice hookshot dash there with the bomb. And another one.
Unfortunately, getting stopped by the guards there ever so rudely, but it's what their job.
Yeah, those post-Agina guards can be a little dangerous in the overworld. Nice little hook speed as we wait for the bomb to go, and let's see what Pyramid Fairy has for us today.
And we have Fraud, which is great, especially for Tepidino, because their next lets them clear out Skull Woods first and foremost. But it also means when they go up to the mountain, if they can get in TR, they can get very far into TR, probably all the way up to, actually all the way up to Laser Bridge.
Yeah, quite a few checks in quite a few locations. It'll be interesting to see where Tepidino goes here. Looks like they're going to be dashing back to Kakariko Village to take the Dark World portal. This will most likely be that full clear Skull Woods clear. I expect them to do it back to front with that fire rod already in hand, which, depending on where the item layouts are, could save them quite a bit of time.
Definitely, especially if the knowledge that there is an item hard locked on Mothula itself. Yeah, you definitely go back to front. You've got Tempered Sword, couple 2 bottles, at least one has a goo in it. So yeah, that's a free win.
Yeah, has that Cane of Samaria as well. Oh, looks like they're going in the front here. Maybe just checking this first chest first. We'll see if they want to continue this side. And not able to, does not have the key, so we'll be going to the back here.
Oh. Strange they weren't using the mirror there, but might just want to keep the quick swap closer to. Never mind, they went. Yeah, they're going middle. You got Red Cane.
Yeah, nice and easy check here. With the big key, and now probably heading to the back. As we see Scupula doing their icebreaker here in Ice Palace. Nice clean icebreaker. Breath Surrenderer heading into Swamp Palace to get their mitts off the boss here. And Yoinker's wife looks like they're going to be heading down here to Swamp Palace as well. And someone in chat pointed out, yes, it was a roundabout rule of fire because Ice Palace, Bombos locked Ice Palace, which did lock that fire up behind Pyramid Fairy.
Technically correct, the best kind of correct.
The best kind. We take it every time.
Now, I'm curious if there's going to be... It's probably not going to be anything on Mothula, but if there is something special here, that would be really nice. If you find, say, Ice Rod here, you find Floop here, or you find Ether here, that would change so much for you.
Yeah, definitely makes a big difference on where, especially Tepidino here is going to be heading next. We'll have to see what they decide after this Mothula fight on Tempered Sword. Should be a relatively easy fight for a runner like Tepidino. Very easy fight. Very clean.
Very clean. Moths down. Pizza Heart. Pizza Heart.
And Tepidino getting their 5th crystal of the game. Just Misery Mire and Turtle Rock left. So I assume they'll be heading up Dark Death Mountain and then checking on Turtle Rock to see if we can enter. And then most likely clearing as much of Turtle Rock as they can. After, of course, they clear out Misery Mire or Skullwoods here.
Yep. And I forget whether there was something in the front earlier. There was. I don't recall it being a progressive item. It wasn't a sword, and it wasn't anything.
Oh, it's the book in the back.
Oh.
So both items fire locked in the back today.
We are seeing a pet check. We are seeing a pet check. We will know now if the ice rod is here.
Cat, hold on to your hats. We will see today the pedestal holds our silver arrows. So we will be seeing silverless Ganon, which sounds about right from this seed, you know?
Yeah, but everyone's going into Swamp House they're forced into there. They're gonna have Tempered Sword. I mean, Master Sword Ganon, it's as hard, it's tedious. It takes so long to do.
Yeah, and we see Tepidino heading up the mountain here. Looks like they're gonna be let's see. They're gonna be checking Ether Tablet here first, before heading to the west to open up that Turtle Rock entrance. This is nice routing from Tepidino.
I'm saying it now, Book never leads to anything good. And I'm immediately proven wrong by Blue Mail.
Blue Mail, and let's see, so far it's blocked Blue Mail and Silvers. We don't know what's on Bombo's tablet, or what's possibly in Pendant Desert Palace still. So still quite a bit of options for that book to be relevant. We'll have to see where that leads us. As we see Scupula, going to be checking Super Bunny Cave here first. Started from the bottom here in Dark Death Mountain. As we find an ice rod and some bombs. So having that ice rod.
Yep, so there's no double dipping a TR, and it is a vanilla entrance. It is quake locked. So Turtle Rock already have the keys going in, and we are going to have the ice rod before going in. There's no way you go into a Turtle Rock without checking Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny first. No way. You
get 6 quick checks here. It just doesn't make a ton of sense, especially if you're still looking for an item to clear Turtle Rock. You know, maybe if you're looking for an additional item, I could see routing this in after and hoping maybe you find the flute and Turtle Rock if you already had that ice rod. But if you're missing the ice rod, no way you skip these checks.
I've got a question in chat here about the flutes on Green Pendant turn-in. Would you still get silvers for the seed? And I still think pretty much everyone would leave those silvers where they are, because the time you spent to go get them is going to be more than the time they save at that point.
Yeah, definitely depends on your comfortability with that Ganon fight, with that silverless Ganon fight. But yeah, I expect most of our runners won't be picking up those silver arrows today. Yeah, I don't suspect they'll take the time to find their way all the way up. Scupula does have the ice rod, yes. Ice rod was in Super Bunny Cave today.
But I do not see the fire on their tracker, so they have not gone to the Pyramid Fairy yet.
No, it looks like they came straight up Dark Death Mountain chasing that density. Yeah, Tepidino making the right call there and doing Pyramid Fairy first, so... Okay, Scupula able to go a little bit further. I was maybe seeing, you know, depending on what that first item is, you can be completely locked out of Turtle Rock, which is always kind of a blessing when you know the Fire Rod isn't here, and the Ice Rod isn't here.
Honestly, I prefer being locked out of Turtle Rock, because that's...
At least you know.
Yeah, the thing is, like, it's a lot of people say, oh, there isn't time safe by go moding. Like, you don't have to do the vanilla big key chest, or Mimic Cave, or the big chest, or Laser Bridge sometimes.
Yep.
And we saw a Butter Sword for Scupula, so all sword, we have sword percent and bottle percent.
And we see nothing on the Firelock side of Turtle Rock there. See Tepidino heading to the back. Scupula most likely going to be going to check Pyramid Fairy here, as we see Professor Renderer making their way through Ice Palace. We'll be finishing that up momentarily. And Yoinker's wife making their way finishing up left side swamp here. We'll be heading to the back to get their Titans Mid shortly.
Looks like, well, I thought Scoopula was going to turn that shovel, but they went from their house all the way. I don't know where they're going.
Interesting. I'm not sure where they're going either. Seems like an odd roading choice.
Sick Kid? Nope, not Sick Kid.
Nope, just gonna be... Maybe they changed their mind partway through here. Was originally gonna go down south, but yeah, not checking the shovel along the way. I'm not sure if they already did check that shovel, but yeah, might be coming down here to do Smith's Chain with that mirroring glove.
I'm getting confirmation they checked shovel. It probably is. I mean, it's an hour 20 in. Sea fatigue starts to set in, and your brain starts to mash things together. And yeah, it happens to everyone.
Yeah, picking up the Smiths here. We'll see if any of our required items are on Smith. Now we're just down to, it looks like, Flute and possibly Ether. We're able to find some nice items in those last few dungeon finishes.
And unless I'm missing something big, Flute pretty well. Yeah, it still can be desert. So it's either desert or laser bridge.
Desert, laser bridge, could be somewhere here on Smith Chain. I believe that's about it, actually. Yeah, I believe that's about it after that. And Smith just giving us 10 arrows today, as Tepidino finds a single arrow in the big chest of Turtle Rock. Gonna go back, check Mimic cave here.
It looks like Tepidino's the only runner so far on Restream of the book, so they're the only one with the desert knowledge in their head as well.
Yeah, I mean, for all these runners, desert's still an item away, except for Tepidino with that book. Either Flute or book gives us access now, but yeah, definitely nice to have that book, especially, like we were talking about earlier, the possibility of Flute being in Desert Palace, so...
Yeah, and even though that mail wasn't progressive, the fact that you're basically in practical terms, it doubles your heart count. So,
yeah, definitely super useful.
Very useful. Makes Ganon a breeze. You can take a couple hits.
Yeah, the difference between blue mail and green mail Ganon is night and day.
But so far, Turtle Rock is running a bit dry. It's got the fire shield there, which makes the little things in Mire a little easier, but it's not really necessary.
No, it looks like it's just down to Laser Bridge, and then of course that item sitting on Trinex, which we are guaranteed to have one. So it'll be interesting to see the final items here, as we see Scoopula finally picking up that Pyramid Fairy, and we'll be getting their Fire Rod shortly. And
I think Professor Renderer is going the same direction. They're going to get their Fire Rod as well.
Yeah, I believe they just swam away from Ice Palace to come here. Ooh, red mail as well on Laser Bridge. And it looks like that must be all the items.
Yep, must be the last one on boss. So Turtle Rock was filled more with comfort items. Armor, half magic, and a sword, which... all nice to have. Take more hits without dying and kill things faster. Awesome.
Yeah, definitely nice to have all those items, but I think from Tepidino's point of view, nicer to just get that Flute right away and to just get over to Mystery Mire, see if you need Ether. But yeah, we have all the comforts we could need. We have the powder, we have the half magic, we have the gold sword, we have red mail. Looks like most of our runners will most likely be getting that today. I'd be surprised if runners go to clear Desert Palace before Turtle Rock. But we will have to see.
At the very least, we'll see half magic and blue mail on everyone.
Yeah, with that other blue mail being on Ether Tablet. And Tepidino just getting a heart piece from Trinex there, so Trinex, not the answer, but does get another crystal for their troubles. Let's see where they decide to head next here.
To answer a question, Jack, the hammer was in the front of Thieves Town.
Yep, the second chest there in Thieves Town.
This has been a seed. This has been a seed we're talking about.
And now Tepidino going back to check Hera basement. So gonna waste a little bit of time here, unfortunately. Checking the basement here. Tepidino did come up here quite early. Did not quite have that lamp yet, so was not able to clear out the basement. Thought, well, if I orphaned it for this long, I might as well check it now. What a mean place for that flute to be this would be for Tepidino.
Yeah, if the flute had been there, that would have been. It still wouldn't have helped you earlier on. But
no, but would have just given you more information, a little bit faster travel across the world. Definitely one of those items you don't want to last location. Or almost last location.
Yeah, I do believe desert is all that's left for flute. Because we've seen everywhere. We have seen it all.
I believe you're correct. I think that'll be the last spot. So, flute's somewhere in Desert Palace. Very interesting scene so far. We see all four of our runners have actually cleared out Tower of Hera. Actually, full cleared Tower of Hera. No items in Tower of Hera were required, but they have full cleared 2 pendant dungeons. We'll see what this third has in store for them. We know one of the items has to be on Landmo, so be interesting. Nice fight there from Scupula as well with that gold sword. Make easy work of Modula here. Professor Render heads into the back of Skullwoods here with just the tempered sword, but also has that fire rod, so shouldn't be too much of a concern here.
And I'm guessing Scupula is going to find that book in just a minute, and they're probably really incentivized not to go back to Turtle Rock, hoping to avoid another climb. Since we know there's nothing in there, but the nice items to have, but nothing progressive.
Yeah, Scupula doing the same thing, checking this pedestal today, and they're gonna save and quit. We'll see where they save and quit to here. And they hesitated for a second before choosing the mountain, so it looks like they will be clearing Turtle Rock out here first. Thinking maybe just item density, but
it's fair. I mean, clearable crystal in your path. I mean, you've got all the items, and it's also Laser Bridge is a meme for a reason.
Also, we unfortunately just saw Professor Renderer get bonked off a spike into a Wallmaster. Never a fun situation.
Ouch.
Yeah. Especially in that last room. Okay, avoid those Wallmasters for now. Okay. Looked like nothing. Oh, Flute was on Bombo's tablet today.
Bombo?
Wow. Tepidino, that was the last check we had not seen outside of Desert Palace. The runner not needing to go to Desert Palace today unless we still need Ether to get into Misery Mire. We have not been able to check it yet. Just waiting on that Flute. What a mean seed this has been for the order of these events.
Also want to note that book locked behind it. Well, it gave you knowledge of where the silvers were. It gave you a set of armor, and it gave you your one of your progressive items, the flute. That is
yeah. That back of Swamp holding everything we need today. Also, this seed not being the nicest to our runners today. We had book locked behind Fire Rod. Locked behind Ice Palace, locked behind Mitts in Swamp Palace. So definitely not the most convenient seed for our runners today, but Tepidino, pending what this is in Misery Mire here, could be and is in go mode here, with Bombos being the entrance to Misery Mire.
All right, so no vanilla pendants. No vanilla access to those dungeons today.
No, and looks like Tepidino at 128.50 in go mode officially here on the restream. Just has to go mode Misery Mire here, which depending on that big key location can be very nice or very mean. And then head on up to Ganon's Tower.
Yep. And we avoided the trifecta. We had two of the really bad things that can happen. We had the Aga Seed for one, and then we had the North Dark World loop required. Those are two of the worst things you can ever see in a seed, but we avoided Ped.
We did avoid Ped. We did have to do the full clear of Swamp, or Pendant Swamp, but hey, you take what you can get in seeds like this.
And that's not that bad. Swamp is sure it's pendant to seed, but it's a quick dungeon with a lot of item checks there. Very few small keys.
Yep. Especially if you were to skip the left side here, would save you quite a bit of time as well. The left side being and having that Cane of Samaria also saving quite a bit of time on left side and the back, clearing up all those chests.
And unfortunately, Mire is not the ideal go mode type. First two checks are not the big key we're looking for.
Yeah, Tepidino going to continue to the left here. And we're still searching here.
Good news on that check there. I mean, that check right there, if it is a small key, it tells you immediately the big key is in its vanilla location. Other than that, the big key can still be in its vanilla location, but it's unlikely now. It's one out of 3.
And Tepidino setting up that dash strat. Very nice. And gonna be heading over. And now a 50-50 chance. We'll see if it's here. And no, big key in its vanilla location today. So we'll need to go light the torches, take a little cutscene through there, and then we'll have that big key to go to the back.
But, I mean, in this scenario, it's your go mode dungeon, and you know your opponents are going to have to do this exact same setup as you. You're not losing time to anyone here. It's just a seed trolling you.
Yeah, 100%. Everyone is going to have to go back here as well. The way the logic was set up, it feels like a lot of people had to do these double dip situations. And odd clears and having to go long distances without any progression. So I think it's been a relatively linear seed all in all, but yeah, Tepidino finding a really nice route here.
Yep, Tepidino has consistently stayed, of the 4 we're watching, second or first for pretty much the entire time. And right now they have a more decisive lead than they've had earlier, and that was because their immediate choice to go to Pyramid Ferry, which took them to Skull Woods to Turtle Rock. So even though they had to do a full clear that led to nothing, they are still ahead of everyone else by at least a full dungeon.
Yeah, really making the most of the items in the situation that they had, getting those boots early and kind of just following the logic throughout. And like I said, it was a decently linear seed as Tepidino sets up spooky action.
Love that glitch.
Whoop. Oh, there we go. Sometimes you need that second shot. Always a cool glitch to set up. Always a cool glitch to succeed at doing. Saves you quite a bit of time and a bomb. As unfortunately Professor Renderer taking a death here. I do believe that was in Turtle Rock. I'm not exactly sure where it was, but going to be heading back through here.
Probably the chain chomps. I mean,
That would make
mail,
sense. Yeah.
Those things are beasts. They eat your health bar in 2 bites.
I've died quite a few times to those, and I will continue to die quite a few times to them, I'm sure. And Tepidino, finishing off their fight here, now has all 7 crystals. Good to be able to head up to Ganon's tower. And Fugitive, you know what that means. We gotta have a really, really fun big key guessing game here in Ganon's tower. What do you like to go with, Fugitive?
I go with my standby of 6. But put a number in chat. Any number, but numbers between 1 and 2 are the correct numbers for this particular situation. But we'll have at least someone put some other number in there.
Yeah, I like to go with 14 today, I think.
14, so right in the middle of the key hunt there.
Yeah, I want it to be worse than average, but not horrendous, you know? Because this seed just feels like that. Like, the seed wasn't always the most horrendous, but definitely below average.
It could have been worse.
It could have been much worse, you are very correct.
It's like it could have been much worse. But I actually kind of think of the GT routing and, hey, Dark Magician strat v non-Dark Magician strat.
Yeah, are you a Dark Magician runner?
I'm not, because I don't like doing the full right without invincibility item. And Scupula just got their flute. And so it's that, or I do that awkward mirror a second time out and go full left from there. It just feels like me doubling back, so I just do Hope Room right if I can, and then go full left.
Yeah, I'm a Dark Magician enjoyer myself. But yeah, definitely annoying when you have to mirror back and then clear out to the left again, hammer down those pegs, go through. Definitely can feel like you're wasting quite a bit of time. But yeah, I like to just try and get as much item density as I can. I find that I tend to get through quite a few checks with the Dark Magician route. And Tepidino, guessing's closed, everyone. Tepidino has entered Ganon's tower. Let's see, check number 1 on the torch. Just a small key. Nice to find.
And that pretty much guarantees Tepidino's going to be doing a Dark Magician variant routing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scupula heading over to Mire. Did not set up Spooky.
And that's 5 checks in Ganon's tower. And yep, we do see the mirror away from Tepidino. We'll be doing that Dark Magician route. Heading to Hope Room here for checks 6 and 7.
And I am out.
And deeper we go here. Nice little Booth Samaria action there from Tepidino. Nice little strat. Land that Kata Samaria block right on the button there.
And with red mail, but that's 15 hearts. Yeah, you don't even have to dodge those spikes there.
Yeah, red mail, he has half magic here, so doesn't have to worry about using up any of his magic. And nice, easy Ganon tower clear here. Even has that butter sword to knock these enemies down as he has to. Checks number 8, number 9, 10, and 11. We're still searching.
You're more irritated by the time loss from taking the hit from an enemy than from the damage with red mail.
Yeah, very much so.
I did not know that this path existed until I started playing random, the full right path.
Yeah.
I never knew these rooms existed.
I didn't either, honestly. I'll be real with you. Just seems like such an inconvenient way to go, but if you're exploring it, I guess, makes sense.
And that room room there. It's if you don't know where the bomb jump is for it without boots, it's awful.
Yeah. We see check number 12. Still not it. We're going to be doing ice armos here to get a few more checks.
Gonna have to be a little careful of arrows. Not too bad. Like, they just have to maintain at least 4 arrows to get to the climb.
Yep, 7 arrows here from Tepidino. 13, 14, and 15. Still searching. I'm also out. So that's 15. Now we're going to see the left side, rest of the left side of GT here.
So at this point, yeah, there's 3 areas to go. There's the fire bar room, and a second fire bar room, I don't know what's properly called, and the rando room.
We also have the dreaded tile room. Oh, there it is. 16 today. 16 looking.
There is no tile room. It doesn't exist.
Exactly. That's a good. IR shiny today. Guessing 16. Congratulations, IR shiny. You have gained as many internet points as you would like. Give them all to yourself today. Congratulations.
All those glorious real fake internet points and a lifetime supply of randomizer seeds.
Courtesy of a link to the past randomizer.com. You see Tepidino picking up a few more arrows here, like we were talking about, to getting in an unfortunate lockstep. There we go. Lines up. Having a little bit of trouble here. There we go. Lines him up, takes him down. Going to be heading up to the rest of this climb here again, this tower.
And this should be a very fast climb, because the only thing that could make it faster, Tepidino knows, isn't in the cards, but Butter Sword, half magic, with Fire Rod, just gonna blaze through that entire gauntlet.
Oh, quick fall from Tepidino there. Gonna have to run back across this room. Could definitely be an annoying space. Well, yeah, like you said, quite a bit of an easy climb. Has the Butter Sword here. I don't expect this to be too tough of a fight here for Tepidino. Especially with that red mail. I believe also still holding on to one of their blue goos, so yeah, should be quite an easy fight here.
And honestly, I think the half magic is the best of those items, because that means even if you have to use your blue goo on the climb, you have plenty of magic for Ganon.
Yeah, exactly. Never have to worry about running out. You just hit even with a quick torch glitch, pull that fire rod out. Never have to worry about running out, no matter how much you miss Ganon there. And missing the 1 cycle, but good to get the 2 cycle here. Nice quick fight from Tepidino. As we see.
It looks like Professor Renderer is getting their flute as we speak.
Yeah, Professor Renderer heading to get their flute as we see Scupula finishing up Misery Mire here. Will be joining Tepidino in Ganon's Tower shortly. Let's see what route they decide to go in Ganon's Tower. They go full left. They'll save quite a bit of time.
And yeah, it's really up to. There's not really one perfect routing. That's what I do love about GT routing. There is no objectively correct way to do it. It's just, hey, what do you prefer? Do you prefer getting as many checks as early on, or do you prefer clearing out the least run back?
Yeah, definitely personal preference. You know, you see high-level professional runners do completely different routes constantly. So definitely interesting. People just tend to have, you know, whatever they've been doing for a while, whatever feels right is generally, as long as it feels good to you, that's good enough for me. You see Scufula making that climb while Renderer activates that flute. Could be heading over to Misery Mire, realizing they are in fact in go mode. We also have Yoinker's wife here, just checking the last few checks here on Laser Bridge before heading to kill Trinex.
And Yoinker's wife will not be far from finding that flute as well, because this seed pretty much forces you to full clear the map.
Yeah, most likely going to pick it up on their way over to that Desert Palace area. I believe Desert will be the only area left for them after this. So will be interesting to see whether or not they decide to route in Desert first. Hopefully they remember Bombo's tablet along the way. Can definitely be one of those out-of-the-way checks that when you're thinking Desert, you might forget about. So hopefully it's marked clearly on their tracker. And a single, double, single here from Tepidino, taking down Ega 2. Going to be dropping into their Ganon fight momentarily. As we see Scupula heading right first, going to go to Hope Room here.
That's my preferred routing, but we'll see. Do they? Oh, yep, they do. Yep, they go right left. So
yeah, Hope Room to the left. So they're going to get that big key pretty quick. Nice place for Ganon to land after the first phase. First getting those slash strats against the bottom, and then these dash slash strats. And you can deal quite a bit of damage to Ganon in this phase. Even sneaking that extra hit in for good measure.
Oh yeah, right. Especially the best parts where he's right that one gap across from top wall.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You just gotta constantly keep hitting them.
And getting that first hit off before doing torch glitch with a single fire rod shot.
I also like how Ganon doesn't specify the pedestal. Just says, did you find the arrows from the light world?
Yeah, that's the mean part. That's the first learning randomizer. Silverless is not the first tech you learn, but after enough seeds where, oh yeah, the silvers were in the light world, the dark world.
Yeah, not the most helpful of hints, you know.
That already, if you have hints turned on, oh yeah, it's under the pose. The who? If you don't know Zelda enemy names, like pose, like that's Graveyard Ledge.
Yeah. Yeah, and Tepidino finishing up their clean Ganon fight there, walking across the bridge, finishing with an official race.gg time of 1:46:40. Get your GGs in chat for Tepidino getting first on today's restream.
Oh, and looking on Scupula's screen, Scupula did not go full left, so they're going to be a little delayed getting that big key.
No, it looks like they went left, right, left. Now, heading over, doing full right. Then gonna have to go back left to get that big key. As Professor Render heads to the back of Misery Mire here. And Yoinker's wife, delaying his flute a little bit longer, gonna be doing the Smith chain here, but this will lead him directly to Bombo's tablet, which I assume is their ID here, just to full clear out this area.
Honestly, there's so many times where the big key is quite frequently behind Ice Armos too.
Yeah, having 3 checks behind Ice Armos here definitely means it's here more often than we'd like it to be sometimes. But Scupula getting the bad news here. A couple slashes and going to be heading back to the left to get their big key. And looks like we have Tepidino joining us. Tepidino, GG's.
Hey, GG's. Good evening, everyone.
How was that seed for you?
I mean, you find Master Sword, you find Bow. What are the odds there's another big item in Zora region, right?
Yeah, of course.
Right? Zora never has anything, and when he does, it's like isolated, or you can go around it. You're not gonna last locate a lamp there, right?
No, of course not. No, it was we had the lamp on Zora, yeah, leading to the Aga climb, the forced North World, Dark World with the hook shot, and then that forced clear of swamp.
Yeah, the full clear swamp. Yeah, it was great too.
Yeah, really piecing them together today. Also taunting us with those silver arrows sitting on the pedestal there.
Oh, that was the worst. I was like, okay, I'll go to desert. It's gonna be in desert. I'm gonna beat desert, and then as I activate the flute, I'll grab my silvers. At that point, you can see I actually stopped and thought about beating desert to get those silvers.
Yeah, it was. It definitely helps quite a bit on the climb as well as in that cannon fight. But yeah, once you're looking at it there, not having to go into desert at all, even with that book. But that book was locking quite a bit. Was locking silver arrows, locked a mail upgrade, and locked the flute today.
It was 3 for 3 for good items.
Yeah, it was, so I guess you can't say that lamp was locked by flippers because you had the glove too. But technically, the flippers would lead you to 3 good items. Also, so no, 3 as well because mitts were behind flippers.
Yeah,
great seed. Yeah,
great seed. It was interesting. It was one of those seeds where everything was in an inconvenient location. Right, but there was almost nowhere else to go throughout the scene. Like you went somewhere and then you were just like, well, I guess I have to go here. And that's where the item was. And then you're like, well, I can full clear Swamp Palace. So you do, and then that's where the item is. And then I can go to Ice Palace. And then, my next item's on Pyramid Fairy. Okay, I'll just go there. Like it just everything led into the other. It was just all inconvenient locations after another.
I think the greatest proof to that is that everybody on Restream has Gold Sword.
Yeah, single person.
Everybody grabbed that tempered and left side swamp.
Everyone full cleared swamp. I mean, what are you gonna do at that point? At that point, you guys were missing quite a few items still. Missing fire rod, ice rod, mitts, and flute, and possible ether at that point, since we didn't know the openings for Turtle Rock or Misery Mire. So it was one of those situations where what else do you do but full clear swamp there? I think going to the left side is absolutely kind of required.
And
so
by that point, it was both. And that was the second point of convergence for everyone.
Swamp.
Yeah.
What was the first? Was it Aga?
It was Aga Tower. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so glad I'm not the only one that got screwed by that.
No, Professor Render went to Aga Tower first, but kind of hard. Didn't get those boots for quite a while. Decided to not go up the mountain until I assume either getting the mirror in the glove or the hook shot, and then after getting the hook shot in pod, decided, well, I have so many checks open. North and then south Dark World, so followed that path. Not the worst set of paths, but did leave them off of those boots on the old man for quite a while.
That must hurt. Like I'm always a big fan of rushing mountain. Like usually because worst case scenario you get a checkpoint there, you gotta go back later.
Yeah,
unless there's a lot of stuff to do. And then you have a hint saying, hey, it's in that mountain. Okay, there are 2 checks there that could be there, and one that I can see if it's there. It turns out it was an old man, right? I guess. Worst case scenario, I would have wasted a walking climb, because in case I find flute, because I know boots are on the mountain.
Yeah, as well as if you find the flute, you also don't have to worry about going back for Zora, because you know that lamp has to be somewhere on the mountain as well, most likely.
Yeah, exactly.
Not has to be, but is a lot more likely to be once you find that flute early.
Absolutely.
I feel like those boots were the only convenient thing about this scene, actually.
Yeah, let me think about it. Yeah, the
Early bow was nice, but yeah, having Zora be required as well is kind of icky.
yeah the I said I'm gonna do the South Shore play. I thought about okay, I'm going to hold him here and get money. And I was like, what are the odds? I swear to God, that was exactly what I thought. It's not gonna be there, right? Right? I don't have to hold a hand.
Yeah, it's always the seeds where you least expect it, where it's hard required.
Gross. Yeah,
It
and
has to be.
And 9 times out of 10, you'd be right.
Yeah, you'd be right most of the time. We were talking about it too because a couple of you had skipped it, and I believe it was Scupula who went there first with 500 rupees, and we were like, "Well, it's most likely a scam today. We found a sword, we found the bow, and then the lamp popped up. We were like, oh no, that is unfortunate."
It could have been worse because the lamp. I mean, you knew it was an Agassi at that point. There were only,
Yeah.
It was the last place to go. And I think, yeah, one of the last 2 places to go. So you were forced to come back really quickly for it.
I thought about just going Dark Aga. I swear I thought about it, and then the only reason I didn't go is it could be a hammer, it could be a hook shot, you know, it could be actual progression.
Yeah, which would save you from doing Aga. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
But once you find that lamp, it's like, oh, well, here we go.
Yeah, because I usually look for was once taught to check for 3 signs of Aga rather than 2 because of how sword logic works. I don't know if it still works like that, but we only had 2 swords, didn't have Kate, did not have a third sword. I was like, there is a world, but apparently there isn't.
Yeah, there's a world where it's just these off locations, and then we got these, the fun shovel check later on, and a nice fetch quest into a fetch quest. Always a good time.
Oh, I just want to say that I am contractually obligated to save and quit and go check shovel immediately after I grab it. Ever since the League Season 2, it was not a good decision, but it's in a contract.
Hey, you gotta follow that word for word, so I get that 100%.
Hey, when it works every time.
And when you leave it and there's something there, it feels so unfortunate.
Hey, we've been saying since that time that shovel is the true go mode. All right, it's midnight here. I really need to go. I'm really sorry.
Oh, you're all good. Thanks for stepping in with us, Tepidino. We actually have Scupula just finishing up as well here with the race.gg time of 156.36. But yeah, Tepidino, thank you so much for stopping by. GG's again. 146.40 on this seed. It's a really nice time.
Thank you very much for the restream, for the commenting, the tracking. I really appreciate all the work you put so we can have fun and show other people a little bit of fun as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Tepidino. Appreciate it.
Have a great night.
You as well.
You as well.
Thanks.
All right, let's see if we can get Scupula in here as well. Have a version of the same conversation we had there. We see Professor Renderer putting a bomb on that chest for good measure for this seed.
Like, telling us all exactly what they think of this seed.
Yeah. I feel like Professor Renderer has been feeling like that a lot this seed. So, let them get their frustrations out. And Yoinker's wife finishing up their Vidi fight, picking up their full heart, and will now be heading up to Ganon's tower. Scupula joining us here in the broadcast. GG's.
GG, sir.
Hi, thanks. Why is it like this?
Yeah, it was rude and mean in so many ways.
Like
Random.
well,
Yeah.
You know what? I'm looking at the time and I'm done. I'm like, wait a minute, how did we get here? Because I don't know. It seemed like you're on rails to me. I don't know how you skip anything here.
Yeah, it really did feel like a full clear. It looks like really everyone just skipped out Desert Palace, checking that bombos before going in, and other than that, it was a full clear seed. I was saying to Tepidino before he had to head out that it was a seed full of inconvenient locations, but it felt like you were almost funneled to all the locations where the items were after clearing Aga. You had to go to Pod, and then you had to go West Dark World, West Dark World, and then you had to go South, and you had to do Swamp. It was just there was nothing else to do at those points.
Yeah, like I'd say it shouldn't feel as slow as it apparently was. I guess I don't know. It's Ambrosia. You're supposed to be able to check less, but it seems like anytime I ever do one, this is kind of what happens.
Yeah, it was some interesting locations today, and of course the fun full clear this dungeon to get access to the next one. So
and then I go and do something stupid in GT, and then where is it? Right in front of where I should have been.
Yeah, we saw the right side, left side, right side. Unfortunate. We were like, unfortunate to see there.
Like, I'm thinking, a bunch of people are getting done. Like, I don't know. So let's just do something, because clearly they did something that I couldn't figure out. So let's just change it up and get punished in the worst possible way.
Yeah, honestly, seeing the way Tepidino routed that seed, it just seemed like they happened to go at the right places at the right time, and that's what comes in at that time difference. I mean, not having to double dip certain locations when you cleared certain parts of the mountain when you didn't. And yeah, it was definitely one of those seeds that if you followed all the threads correctly, it could actually work out decently smoothly, even though there was a lot of weird locations.
Yeah, I mean, the only one I'm happy about, but I'm guessing most everybody did, is walking up the mountain because of the boots hints, and there it was, instead of walking through Eastern. I mean,
actually, Professor Renderer didn't get those boots till about the hour mark. Decided not to go up the mountain without, it looked like, further access, and then once they got that hook shot in Pod, decided just to go west in the Dark World, which at that point you can't fully blame them.
Yeah, I mean, it says Death Mountain, and of course that's like, well, who knows?
Yeah. And the mirror being locked behind those boots also makes it a little more frustrating. You see that item on Spec Rock, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I still need my mirror.
Well, then I suppose he probably got to not do Hera? Or was it?
Actually did end up full clearing Hera, going up to the mountain later. But Professor Renderer crossing here. An official race.gg time of 2:01:09. Everyone get your GGs in chat for Professor Renderer as well. Yeah. Yeah, interesting scene, kind of weird all around. Getting those boots early seems like the only convenient thing we saw, but yeah, that's that's about all we got. What else can we say about this seed?
Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's called, like you say, you go get your boots, if you can see through it and get it, and there's your mirror. Like, oh, this must be the path. No, 2 heart pieces, that's what it is.
Yep, not the path. Not the path at all. Actually, is the path partially later on when you need those Titan Smiths all the way in the back of Swamp Palace. A pendant Swamp Palace.
Double conversion seed where everyone converged on Aga 1. That was your first point. And then eventually you're forced to do north access to Dark World, and then you eventually have to converge on Swamp Palace. And that's pretty much what everyone ended up doing from there. Who went to Pyramid Ferry first? That's what changed.
And we have Professor Render joining us. Professor Render, GG's.
GG. This seat sucks. This seat sucks. Flame Surge.
Honestly, a valid response to this scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, your all of your actions made a ton of sense. It was interesting. You were missing those boots for quite a while that were sitting on Old Man, but you were right up there with Tepidino for quite a while. Just because your routing had been pretty efficient, getting that hook shot, going directly to the west. Unfortunately, having to double dip Skull Woods and then going into Tower of Hera, unfortunately lost that time back to the boots.
I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It was the Skull Woods double dip wasn't really like my biggest concern. I was just trying to fish out items. The Hera dip was just, I was like, okay, I got I'm feeling lucky. I'm gonna try and go Hera, and unfortunately that didn't work out for me. I was debating whether or not I wanted to to blind pull ped or check it, because I had the 2 pendants already. I'm like, okay, do I wanna just like risk it all, or do I want to check it? I guess in a way, thank God I didn't check it, because, or I didn't blind pull it, because I probably would have lost more time to desert.
Yeah, for sure. Then you would have gained from getting those silvers. It's just a taunt that you saw, that people saw there on the pedestal there. Just those silver arrows taunting you. You will never get them once you find that flute outside of desert. Unfortunately, just doesn't save you enough time. Going all the way back to Lambo there.
At least it wasn't. At least it was interesting. At least it wasn't like a 0 out of 10 interesting factor, like
a piece of love versus some couch cash. Yeah.
Like that wasn't. That's not never interesting. That was at least this was one of those cases where it was interesting.
Yeah, it made you think a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's those mitts locations though. The mitts and the hammer location wasn't as bad once you got through pod, but yeah, having to double dip, the forced double dip pod for that hook shot to go west and then come back is also pretty annoying.
No, I mean, at least I got some. At least I was like, oh great, I got some value out of it, out of my aggro rush. So
yeah, that was a really nice play you made there, going to Aga before before checking Tower of Hera. Yeah, just saved you a ton of time there, and yeah, being able to clear out everything in pod right away and get over to the west was nice.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really mind doing the entire loop, because it was just because of the fact that I got some value out of it. So I just I figured now was a good time to take what I get and just go back to the double dip. I wasn't really too friend the double dip a pod that much.
Yeah.
Again, I wasn't fretting the Skull Woods double dip, because it was like, it is what it is. It was like, its Fireball ended up being in Pyramid Fairy, and I was just like, that wasn't really a lot of fun at all.
Yeah, the forceful clear Swamp Palace to go to open up Ice Palace to be able to complete Ice Palace for Pyramid Fairy for Fire Rod to clear Skullwoods is definitely an annoying sequence of items there.
Yeah, I don't think I'm not too worried about it really. It just like I mean, it was just everything else that was just that was pretty sucky. The deaths I took were like I wasn't playing all that well. Like execution wise, I wasn't doing all that well. It was like whatever. I guess in a way it made up for the fact that it was just terrible. The scene was just terrible. So I wasn't really like, in a way, those deaths weren't as bad as it was like it made out to be.
Yeah, because the seed's just gonna take it. Like it's almost a full clear seed, honestly. Like it was almost in all dungeons. Like, it was the item spread was crazy, and yeah, Ambrosia, is supposed to make you check less chests, but here we are checking all of them.
Yeah, if I saw Flute was on Ped, I would at least be a little bit thankful that I did actually check it, because it would have been, I would have been like, okay, now I know what everything is. I just gotta deal with the Strogo of Ether.
Yeah, that's the other thing is with Flute being that go mode item, you have no clue what unlocks Misery Mire that whole time. So you're sitting there and you're like, oh, we got the Flute. And it's like, I hope I'm in go mode. Let's go check.
Yeah, there was that one Strogo that I was hoping it didn't if this was like, if Ether was required, that would have made it as incredibly terrible, like almost curse seed go mode podcast Discord levels of bad.
Yeah, if it was Ether, let's say on Landmo in Desert Palace, that would be that'd be going down. That's the chat's dream here.
If Ether had appeared on pedestal, Ether instead of silvers, then that would have been hanging over your head the entire
rest of the time. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, there definitely could have been some meaner situations. But yeah, definitely still got some mean ones in there for you.
Yeah, even then, it probably is still would have been a curse. Like, so is curse seeds tear level because it was like because
pretty
it did because this was like I looked at the finish times like as I was getting go mode, like 144, like 144.33, 146.40 for like first seconds
is crazy.
That's bad.
Yeah,
that's really bad.
Especially knowing afterwards where those boots were.
Yeah.
Knowing that the boots were so early, right? It's like this just makes the seed so much faster too, usually. But
if anything, I didn't really mind the fact that I was bootsless. I was kind of I was waiting in anticipation to get to like have a good reason to go up the mountain. I didn't want to go up for like 3 items.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, I'm just the hook shot was that reason to go.
Yeah,
and I guess in by extension by extension the hammer, because that I was like, okay, I'm all done.
You can drop
dead. Yeah, drop dead. Go up the mountain. Period.
Yeah, no, like honestly, the routing makes a ton of sense. And then once you make that first decision to not go up Death Mountain for just a few checks, and then you find that hook shot in Pod, it's like, well, it just makes sense to go to West Dark World. There's just so many checks. You have Skullwoods, Thieves Towns, all the overworld, Hype Cave, everywhere, right? So, like, no point in really saving and quitting to go up the mountain there. And then, yeah, by the time you go all the way up the mountain, you find the boots there, but yeah, unfortunately, having to clear the rest of it with not much on the light side there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel bad about my routing at all. I legitimately felt really good about the routing and period.
Yeah.
It was just the fact that I didn't really it was just a couple of situations that just led to me bleeding out time than I should have. Like and again, not discounting the deaths. Like, we're not counting the deaths here because I was just mostly just ended up being bad, so it didn't matter. If I had found if Hera had something, I would have been pretty much way ahead. I felt like I mean, as it stands, I mean, I don't feel bad about I don't feel bad about routing at all. Everything I did was perfect to my eyes. I just didn't execute.
Yeah, that's fair. And me and Fugitive actually agreed with you on the death. We really liked your routing quite a bit. It made so much sense as you kept doing it. And like we were talking about, like you were fully caught up all the way through finishing up Pod. Like you and Tepidino were like tied going into that fight basically. So your routing made a ton of sense.
For a while.
At least I'm actually happy that I was able to go like be in relative lockstep with Tepidino, because Tepidino's a good runner, like straight up one of the best.
Honestly, like Tepidino did this seed in I think one of the most efficient ways. Like it was, and finished with a 146. So that tells you something about the seed. Looks like we have Yoinker's wife joining us in chat as well. Yoinker, GG.
GG. How do you like that flute placement?
It was.
I think it was the everything placement in this seed.
It wasn't. Like, I really just as soon as I said it, I just straight up said it. This seed sucks.
Nothing else to say beyond that. That really does sum up this seed quite well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was looking at. Someone finally done at like what was it? 141 was the first place.
144, yeah.
Yeah, and I looked at it and I went, this seed really sucks.
Yeah, I was in go mode by that point, and it was like, oh yeah, like I saw the finish, I saw the two finishes, like oh yeah, this seeing that like first second was that high compared to like with like the runners on hand, I could tell something was amiss, and I kind of said, blame Surge.
It was Surge who pulled the seed today.
Yeah.
Was it? Okay.
Surge, well, I should probably correct myself. Surge and Jaxie, because I guess, because Surge rolled it, and I said, attribute to both Surge and Jaxie. How about that?
Yeah, Jaxie did tell us beforehand that they did not roll the seed, so the badness of the seed could not be associated to them, but, I mean, we all know we can do what we want here.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I've said what I've needed to say here, but final thoughts. Again, the seed sucks, but thanks to cons, trackers, all that stuff, and hope you like the little jams that from the MSU that I had. It's pretty good stuff.
No, it was nice to hear as well. I also appreciated your bombs and places of frustration as well. Gotta let it out, you know.
I mean,
I
pretty sure we're
I mean,
without words.
that and like my the funny and my blind and cold stare. More specifically, what I was doing in those fights.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, no, like you said, you know, you felt like your execution wasn't 100% up to par, but yeah, your routing really made a ton of sense, and yeah, like you said, like your routing to me seems like in your situation, once you make that first decision about not going up the mountain, it just makes perfect sense what you did, and the routing would have worked out perfectly well. If there wasn't, like you said, if there was an item in Hera or on the pedestal.
Yeah. Try to make some good games, some good Genesis games. Play Gunstar Heroes, play Alien Soldier. All right, I'm done. GG's to everyone. And
GG's renderer. Yeah, I mean, what else to say about this seed? You know, honestly, yeah, haven't seen an Ambrosia seed like that in a little bit.
Haven't seen a seed like that in a little bit.
Oh, you should have seen my race earlier with the ladder and the cash opens.
Oh no, what do we have there?
It actually wasn't that bad. No, I don't think I've seen anything quite like this seed ever, and I've been around since 2016.
Yeah, this is definitely one for the books. One for the Speed Gaming cursed runs books.
And it could have been worse.
That's the one unfortunate thing.
That's my thinking. It's you had to skip some stuff because of Ambrosia, but
yeah, it made the dungeon routing a little bit more convenient today. Got to skip actually a decent number of checks. Getting to skip, big key chest in Eastern Palace is always nice as well.
Yeah, I was really glad I did left side swamp though.
Yeah, getting that extra sword is very nice.
Yeah. I regret Hera. There was nothing in Hera. Heck with Hera. I'm gonna start taking the homewrecker stance. Heck Hera basement.
it's too bad too because the boots fell into logic. You get the boots, you get the mirror, you go to Harry, and you're only missing one thing, and then too bad. And of course, it makes you go to the basement.
It makes you go to the basement, and then there's still nothing there, which is always fun. The two items in Hera, and one has to be on the boss, and the other one just had to be in the basement.
Yeah, and they both had to be pieces of heart.
Yeah, not even full heart containers, just pieces of heart.
All right, I think we're gonna be wrapping up here shortly. Want to give a quick shout out again to our trackers, Shandis and Avalon today. Trackers keeping both me and Fugitive on track in our comments section, as well as making sure that you, the viewers, know what's going on in the seeds. So shout out to the trackers. You can follow them via their Twitch extensions in chat. Also, Fugitive, it was a ton of fun to commentate with you today. Yoinkers, Scupula, thank you. From a chat's perspective, a fun race. So we appreciate that from you.
Oh, well, thank you for the restream, and thank you again for the commentary and the tracking. And I know what it's like putting together one of these, and especially when it's a holiday. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, I would like to return this seed. It's not operating properly.
Yeah, no worries. We'll make sure. We'll get Surge to get back to you right away.
We'll get you in contact with customer support.
Yep.
3 to 4 business days.
I gotta just find my receipt here, so I'm gonna go do that.
Yeah, you let us know.
Thanks all for you, GG's, everybody, and yeah. Have a good night.
GG's, guys. All right. And for everyone here at Speed Gaming 4, have a good night, guys. Thanks for joining us on today's race, and we will see you next